What's up, it's your boy Vaughn, another reaction. In today's video, we have Epstein and his Royal Buddies by Trap University. Uh, let's get into it. Hopefully, this shit don't get taken down. Now, I don't think they taking down Epstein videos. I'm pretty sure YouTube, you kind of got some type of freedom of speech,
And we just heard
but
that some
TikTok, they silencing that shit. They ain't playing that shit.
guy was meeting with presidents and other world leaders while taking one princess shopping at Prada in Miami and taking another princess to a private Broadway show in New York. We find it hard to believe. And that's not even mentioning the fact that he ordered 30 DNA kits from the King of Dubai, which the king delivered, like Amazon. And when looking at the dates on some of these emails, not only does it seem possible that the Crown Princess of Norway got Jason
There's so much more to the Epstein shit, bro. It's still a lot of redactions, gang. The government, dear the government, we don't trust y'all no more, gang. We never trusted y'all, gang. Just release the shit. We don't trust y'all no more, gang. We know y'all niggas on some weird, demonic, evil, pedophile shit, gang. The president of pedo. We don't trust y'all no more, gang.
loved by Jeffrey Epstein, but it also seems that Epstein could have been responsible for matchmaking in a royal marriage. So we've heard more disturbing stories about this guy than we've probably ever heard about anybody, ever. But something I haven't seen many videos on is the sheer amount of royalty that not only associated with him, but went out of their way to spend time with him, including married women and married couples. Andrew is just the one we hear about, but we never hear about how desperate the Crown Princess of Norway was to see him, or the inappropriate things they shared. Recently, we've seen people in the UK face charges over their connections to Epstein, and over here in the US, it's become sort of a joke because, as Nancy Mace said, no one over here will ever go to prison or face justice for their connection, because we have a two-tier justice system. One tier for the rich and powerful, and the other tier for everyone else. But wealthy people and politicians in the US are not the only people who will probably never face consequences for their association with Epstein. So I wanted to focus on people above politicians, some of which are legally immune to prosecution. The nobility. Now I'm sure that most of you know what the nobility is, but for those who don't, the nobility refers to people who hold special titles and privileges, such as the people who are legally referred to as His or Her Grace, or His or Her Highness, or Majesty. And these titles exist all over the world. For instance, every Nordic country outside of Iceland and Finland has a royal family and a nobility. So does Spain, Thailand, Belgium, Monaco, Japan, and several Asian and African countries. These people are above politicians because, unlike, let's say, President Trump, whose family has consisted of wealthy landowners since the 1800s, the royal family of Norway is descended from a family that's lived in castles for over 900 years. And it's really hard to put into perspective that your family has been rich longer than the modern English language has existed, like Crown Princess Mette-Marit. I might have butchered that name, sorry. Many people know her now because her son is currently on trial for multiple sexual assaults. So it appears that for years, she was sneaking off to meet up with Jeffrey Epstein for getaways in Miami, the Caribbean, and in her own words, Jeff Island. And it shows how not worried she was about her association because the email she was using appears to be her official email, since it addresses her as Her Royal Highness, with HKH standing for Her Royal Highness in Norwegian. She was up at 7:44 a.m. on Christmas Eve, emailing Jeffrey Epstein. This is a woman with a husband and 3 children. And despite not outright flirting, she definitely appeared to be desperate to be around him. Like for instance, when Epstein was having lunch with Elon and he told her that he had other plans, she asked him repeatedly, like a crazy girlfriend, if he really
Elon, another nigga. Wait, you? What did Elon do to become rich? I know he got Tesla, but before that, how was he around in 2011 and 2013 and with Epstein and shit? What the fuck did this nigga? Like, how the fuck you get in these circles, bro? Like, these some circles. I don't want to be around these circles. I'm not like, what the fuck?
had other plans aside from seeing her. It's the multiple question marks that do it for me. She also spent several nights at his Palm Beach mansion, and when he emailed her right after New Year's to tell her he was sick with the flu, she completely ignored it just to ask if he was coming over to see her soon. Again, with the question marks. And while it's possible her husband did know she was spending time with Epstein, as he supposedly met with Epstein in the Caribbean, the fact that she was so frantic to see him all the time led me to believe that she was, in fact, being Jason loved. But in the middle of all of this, their emails took a weird turn, like when she asked him if it was inappropriate to suggest 2 naked women carrying a surfboard for her 15-year-old son's wallpaper.
What?
What? Like, for real, what?
with this son being Marius, the guy who's currently on trial. And I don't even know what to make of that. Is she talking about the wallpaper for his phone? Or his contact photo for when he calls her? And I also don't know what to make of Epstein's response. He said, close your eyes, take in white through your nose. Surely he didn't mean, it looks like he
What the fuck is Epstein? What is you talking about, what, bro? This bitch asks you a question and you say some weird shit. What?
is take in
Close your eyes, taking white through your nose, hold for seven, dark gray out your mouth. This nigga, he was a weirdo, bro. This nigga think he like some philosopher. Like,
white through your nose.
just look at the pictures and all the weird occult shit he had in that on that island and in them houses, bro. He had weird occult shit. Like,
Surely he didn't mean, it looks like he really had this lady, who will be the Queen of Norway when her father in law dies, wrapped around his finger. But in their neighboring country of Sweden, a woman named Sophia was criticized when she started dating the king's son, Prince Carl Philip, mostly because she was a reality TV star who dressed inappropriately. And if all of this would have happened more recently, instead of 2004 to 2009, she probably would have been like an OF influencer. But what's interesting is that her mentor was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein, and she introduced Sophia to Epstein all the way back in 2005, when Sophia would have been around 20 or 21. And they would meet several times while she was a certified yoga instructor slash influencer. I wonder what they were doing. So the timeline is pretty clear with her. In 2004, while she was under 21, she appeared in the media super sexualized, and she was in Jeffrey's preferred age range, for adults at least, since a 40-year-old British model that was bringing him girls remarked that she wished she was 20 years younger, and several of his emails insisted that he did like college girls, as he was having college girls from Berkeley College being brought to him as well. Also girls from whatever school Sophia went to. So her mentor, a woman named Barbara, knew very well that Epstein would like her. And by 2005, Sophia was in New York as an aspiring actress, and her mentor helped her make a connection with a very wealthy New Yorker. And somewhere in this time period, she was also invited to his island, which the royal palace in Sweden claims she declined. But
again, you need to know how much money you gotta have to have an island gang. Like, what the fuck, bro?
either way, her connection
Well, that nigga Reggie Bullock got an island. Well, that NBA money different. Reggie Bullock Island. But that obviously that nigga ain't doing no weird shit on there. But yeah, that bit fire. Yeah, hopefully he ain't doing no Epstein shit on this bit. Well, probably not, bro. Shout out Reggie Bullock.
with Epstein seemed to pay off somehow, because 5 years later, she started dating a prince who she would eventually marry, officially securing the bag for life. And Barbara emailed Epstein several times to celebrate the royal marriage. And the palace said that she hadn't contacted Epstein in 20 years, which might be true. But as of 2012, when she was dating her future husband, she was still being invited to hang out with Epstein. And it's pretty clear that the Barbara lady was a recruiter. But moving on to those 30 DNA kits. Now, Sultan bin Sulaim is a close associate of the Dubai royal family, and I believe that his emails are where we got the infamous "I loved the torture video" email from. And the DNA kits may have been for him, since it appears that that's what this email is suggesting, and it looks like he might have paid $6,084 for some
Again, what the fuck do that mean? I love the torture videos, bro. What?
test kits. He also liked to share explicit videos with Epstein. And then there are several emails mentioning the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, including a personal invitation for Jeffrey Epstein from the Crown Prince. But in majority of these emails, I don't see anything regarding Epstein's supposed job as a financial advisor. Like many of the emails, the ones from who I
Wait, this a real photo? This bitch look AI. This a real photo of him with Mohammed bin Salam?
assume is the Crown Prince's assistant, are mostly about Jeffrey's visa and also wanted to spend time with Epstein. And several other royals are mentioned, including the King of Belgium's younger brother, and so many dukes, counts, and princes were also listed in Epstein's contacts, although not all of them were implicated in any wrongdoing. But what kind of person has such easy access to the people at the very top of society, all over
Yeah, like what the fuck?
the world? I know people want me to talk about what's going on in Iran, but once I started seeing the Crown Prince do interviews after the protests, I kinda saw this coming. And I can't help but feel like it's all a distraction from something that we're missing here. Like I said at the beginning, these aren't just politicians. Although the Swedish princess and the Norwegian princess married into these families, the ruler of Dubai and the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, their family's wealth goes back centuries. And then we have the prince and princess of House Ehrenberg, a family that's been at the top of the social ladder since the 11th century. And they were inviting Ghislaine Maxwell to personal engagements. Just what kind of business were these people doing? Well, don't answer that, because we already have a good idea of what they were doing, but I fear that we'll never get a full answer outside of conspiracy theories. You don't just get this connected by having money. Old money and new money are not the same, and nothing we've seen will suggest that Epstein comes from some old money aristocratic family, although his family was by no means poor when he was growing up. And I've heard the theory that he was somehow descended from the lords of Epstein, which was a German noble family in the Middle Ages, and they lived in a castle in the German town of Epstein, but many people with that
What the fuck?
last name possibly descended from Germans in this area, so there's no way to know for sure. And the source of his finance is still shrouded in mystery. I truly believe that the release of these files by the United States was done to satisfy the people calling for them to be released, because even with so many files out, there's over 1 million redactions, and even without the redactions,
Yep.
it will still lead to more questions than answers. He was a registered sex offender when most of these people were in contact with him, and nobody cared. And while you can argue that his connection with politicians and billionaires helps the theory of him being an intelligence asset, I will argue that his connection to all this old money is an even bigger point toward that theory. Because an elected official or billionaire businessman is not the same as a person who can trace their wealth back to a time when their word truly was law. But why associate with him? When I think of a politician or a college girl, I kind of see the same motive: money, right? And increasing their social standing. But what would a prince or a lord have to associate with Jeffrey Epstein for? Other than to have fun, I guess, because that would be my other motive, that some of these guys just wanted what Epstein could supply, and that he had no problem satisfying any desire. But again, as always, we're left with more questions than answers. But man, that's all I can take for today. And I thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, make sure to come subscribe and I'll do this. A lot of questions, bro. And none of these bitches answer it.